Right, morning everyone. Hope everyone's all right. I'm still absolutely tired. A terrible night. Didn't get to bed till bloody 3:30, and I'm still tired. But I decided, do you know what? No one else was on. I'll do a show in the morning. So what I'm going to do with myself quickly is have a Red Bull because that's going to wake me up a bit. I hope. I think there's still a few things that need to get mentioned out there about Tottenham, about how we did against Fulham and that. Not going to go into details about Fulham. I think we've all heard enough crap about that one. But there's definitely some things we need looking at. So I'm just going to say hello to a few on the comments. Ben, lovely to see you, mate. How you doing? Hope you're all good. Danny, all good, mate. Hope you're fine. Tom says, morning, everyone. Big up, everyone. Ben and Dan, I think that's getting personal. Chris, hope you're doing all right, mate. Haven't seen you for a while. And who else do we have in here? Giant Rabbit, morning. Morning to you too. Also, Tony Rodriguez. How are we doing, mate? Let's see if I've pronounced your name right. Good morning, Dan. Smash that like and subscribe. Thank you, much. It's appreciated. Right, let's just get to the point here. Seriously, we have a manager, and I think we got a very good manager. He's got a lot to learn. I mean, we'll definitely see that. I mean, look at our man, Ange. Now, I think a few people know that I don't have a problem with him, not at all. I think he's a very good manager, and I think he's got a lot of potential to possibly get us somewhere, possibly. In my opinion, Ange, he needs to have a plan B. Not just a plan A and get better, but a plan B. And, oh, pardon me. And he just doesn't seem to. He might make a little tweak or two during the game and that, but he just don't seem to have a plan B. And when the game's not going your way, I feel all right. You see what's happening. Things coming at us down the left or things are coming at us down the right. Okay, so you make a little couple of changes with your wing backs, whatever else. But when like against Fulham, it's going totally, totally wrong. You've got to have a plan B somewhere. I mean, seriously. I don't know, maybe bring it to 4 at the back. Maybe we dip in deeper where we didn't have Van der Ven there. Didn't that show, didn't it? No one could come back with his pace and totally cover the ball coming over our centre backs. It was obvious. And then with the inverted wing backs, it was just they was all over us. There was just no plan B with the man, and he needs to get an idea. We can all sit here and have ideas with a man. We can all sit here and give him ideas and that. But at the end of the day, are they going to get through to him? He's the manager. He's got to make his own decisions. And that's another thing with him. What is up with his subs? What is up with his idea with his subs? Now and again, I see him like make a sub a little bit earlier. But 9 times out of 10, they're always pretty late. And then doing 3 at the same time. For the 3rd time when they've both gone wrong the 2nd time. He needs to get his subs right. I think the man just needs to act quicker. I get he's learning a lot in the Premiership, but he's been a manager for how many years now? What, 20 years? Something like that. So I do feel the man he just has to have a plan B and move a bit quicker. You can't just rely on your plan B to be better than A. But that's a personal opinion. I know other people got a lot of different opinions on here. We all have, and that's half the fun of football. But the way Porro got exposed, the way Doji got exposed, they started opening us clear on the wings as well. Surely he must have seen what was going on there. I mean, it obviously showed how much we rely on Van der Ven's pace, like I already mentioned. It just all showed in that game. It really did. And then apart from other players where we can go into the whole lot of them, the whole thing is plan A just got absolutely broken on there. Well and truly. So let's just see what anyone else is saying. Phil Coy, big up Dan, big up to you too, mate. R709, big up to you, mate. How you doing? Hope all is good. Giant Rabbit, what's he got to say here? Right, he's not a good manager for me. He's all about, look at my style. I'm so cool. Do you know what? It comes across like that, but I don't think he means to. But that's where it ends. His Celtic team got slaughtered in Europe. Well, with that one, mate, I'll go with you on most of that. But his Celtic team's going to get slaughtered in Europe. I mean, seriously. Celtic, Scottish League. Celtic might be a big, well-known club and everything, but they're not going to touch it in Europe. We all know that. So I don't think that's a fair comparison when you put it to Celtic. I mean, when I see them play Real Madrid, I'm pretty sure it was that one where they got banged up 4-0. But in the first half, they was all over Real Madrid. It was working for him. And then Real Madrid just sort of said, we're not having that. They went into second gear while Celtic stayed in fifth gear and they totally wiped the floor with them. But when it looks like it works and it works good. But when it ain't working, it really looks bad and it really looks like it's not working. So there is my point with his plan B. He needs to have a total change. He really does. But yeah, Phil, I think I already clicked on you, mate. I say, don't mind me, people, if I'm a bit slow on this. I'm still getting the hang of this. Plus, I'm still tired from last night. So big up to you too, mate. Always see you on my shows, and that is much appreciated. I'm going to be doing a lot more shows in the morning. I won't say it every morning, but also going to be doing a lot more at night as well. But I must admit, I don't have intentions of doing it regular like what happened Sunday for nearly 5.5 hours. That was only meant to be a 90-minute show. That's all I was going to do, and just have a chat with Kate and Alex when he came on. And it just went, it just ended up being a bit long, let's put it that way. But I'll admit it, when Sean told me with 4 hours 55 minutes that his longest show was 5 hours 15 minutes, I won't deny it. I dragged on that last 20 minutes just to beat his record. So we called it that one. Right, Tony Rodriguez, you pronounce my last name better than it sounds much cooler in English. Yeah, I suppose so, mate. I might as well have put a Z on the end of it. I totally get you. Giant Rabbit, why he's playing inverted wingers when he never did that at Celtic? I don't know. And that's one thing I will come to in a minute, once I've read a couple more out. Ben, yes, mate, what have you got to say here? Ange's more stubborn than Conte and Mourinho. Top managers flexible. My friend, you just smashed the nail straight on the head, as far as I'm concerned. Now, we're all loving Ange, and it's not that we're not sticking by our manager. It's just when people are at fault, you got to tell them. And when they're doing good, you got to tell them. It's like when a player's had a brilliant game, he gets it all over. He's had an epic game. He's had a brilliant game. But when he's had a bad game, you got to tell him he's had a bad game. Now, we was all grilling Conte for this last year when his tactics weren't seeming to work and his football was extremely boring. It was painful to watch Spurs play like that. If anything, it's painful to watch anyone play like that. The only way that can even be good watching someone like that is when they've got an extremely fast counter-attack. And we didn't have that either. But Conte was doing exactly the same thing. He was sticking to his way. It's my way or the highway, whatever way you want me to rhyme it. And that's what his attitude was. And Mourinho was exactly the same. Differences with them two managers, you can't say they didn't get somewhere in life. They've been up there with the biggest. Only thing Conte hasn't done it in his Europe, and Mourinho has done it everywhere he has been, except at Spurs. But the man got us to a final, and then he got the sack the week before. Tell you what, let's not even go there, because then I have to mention the other name, and then it goes on to a total different subject. But Ange seems like he's doing the same thing. I've said it 100 times. I'll say it one more time. I'll probably say it on other shows as well. When he came into Spurs, Spurs was absolutely broken. From the top to the bottom. Fan base all at each other. I mean, we still are to an extent. A lot of us, you got Levy in, Levy out, and you got the odd man in the middle. But the fans were broken with the style of football, with everything basically. To win the fans over, He had the easiest job that a manager has ever had in football, as far as I'm concerned, with winning the fans over. Because all he had to do was tell them, do you know what, boys? Kick the ball forward, play some attacking football. Fans would be happy. Lo and behold, he does that. First 1-2 games, 90% of fans happy with him. Yes, love the man, kicks the ball forward, plays attacking football. We want Spurs football. We want attacking football. There you go. That was half his job already done. He already won the fans over, didn't he? So, Giant Rabbit, what's he got to say here? Why is that no matter how bad Kulu plays, that he keeps playing week after week? Well, we'll get to that one because that's actually one of the points I've got on here. So, and what else is he saying here? Why buy Johnson, then play him on the left wing when he's right-footed? But then you go and say that, mate. That's a very good point. Very good point. But that's my point with Kulu as well. We play him on the right and he's blatantly left-footed. But I'm going to come to Kulu in a minute. But definitely, Ange needs his plan B because it just showed how reliable we are on Van der Ven and how much this inverted winger stuff, which I am really starting to not like, as soon as they cut in, we're open on both flanks. I mean, Dragosin got absolutely rinsed for that game, and I don't think that's fair. It was his first proper game in the Premiership, first proper game for Spurs. And there was times where Doji just went totally missing. I mean, that had to be his worst game ever. And then Dragosin has to come out to cover the left. Romero has to come into the middle to cover him. Bissouma, he's another one I'm going to come to later. And then we're totally open on the other side because Porro still wasn't there because he had a terrible game as well. So a couple of times, ball comes across and there's nobody there except the goalkeeper screaming at him, where the flipping hell are you? This is where I'm starting to not like that inverted wingers thing. Now, do you know what? Do it one side. Do it with a Doji. Have him inverted. And then have the midfield move over a little bit. But then up front, get Kulusevski cutting in more. Give him more space. So he's got more options on his left foot. Get him on the edge of the box. Even more into the middle. Because we keep playing him deep like a winger, which he is not. And he gets down to the end. He's left-footed. So he can't just cross that bloody ball in there, can he? He can't do it. So he has to step to his left. But by the time he steps to his right, the defender's already laughing, step to the left, and the defender's already laughing, step to the right. Because it's obvious what he's going to do. Kulusevski, we need to cut him in if we're going to play him on the right-hand side. We need him to cut in so he's got an option to pass the ball across into the middle, or even take a shot at goal, because we all know our man can have a good shot at goal. We do know he can. And then with that, you can have someone like Porro. Apart from looking, he's also built like a little bulldog. Get it up that wing, and he is our only man that can cross that bloody ball. The only one. So get him up there to cross the ball. Not invert him. Get him up there to overlap Kulusevski and cross the ball. That's how I see it with it. And that's where I see he's got to change a couple of his tactics overall. But again, we go back to the plan B. We can all come up with an idea of plan B, but at the end of the day, that's down to the manager. We ain't professionals. So what's Giant Rabbit saying here? Lascelles is a better player than Kulu or Johnson. He's more technical, but he's not as getting a look in. Yes, but he's not left or right, is he? He's more of a centre mid sort of deep line playmaker, I would call him. He's not quite an upfront Maddison, but then we can also use him as cover for Maddison. But the thing is with Lascelles, for me, mate, he's been too erratic at the club, inconsistent. But then again, I think we can look at practically every Spurs player on there, apart from Harry Kane last season and Vicario this season. Inconsistent. The only other player I'd say we've had that's been actually consistently good is Son a majority of the time, and maybe a Doji. No, sorry, I'll take that all back because Son's had a couple of games where he's gone quiet. So's a Doji, Vicario and Van der Ven. That has been our main two reliable players this year. Game in, game out. Now, Van der Ven's first game, a little bit shady. Second game, getting the hang of it. After that, he bosses our midfield. Defence, sorry. As far as I'm concerned, Van der Ven is now more important to us than Romero. Again, it showed in the other game. The amount of times the ball comes over, he legs it back and catches it, gets the ball forward, and we're on a counter-attack. But without him, it showed how reliable we are on him. Right, Giant Rabbit again. Ange for me is just a show-off and a puppet, and I'm bored of him already. I'm not bored of him already, not at all. You've got to give him more chances than that, mate. I'll bring that back up. You've got to give him more chances than that. I mean, he's got a few players in. He did make that statement that everyone who comes in is through me. They are not going to play or get in this team or even come to Tottenham if I don't want them. So it's on his head, isn't it? It is all on my man's head. But I won't say I'm bored of him. Puppet, who hasn't really been a puppet when it comes to Levy. Again, I'm going to try not to mention the man's too much. It makes me feel physically sick. And it is only 10 to 11 in the morning. So I don't need a Levy debate. But yeah, is he just being a puppet for what he says to try and keep everybody happy? To try and keep the fan base happy? To try and keep the other people happy? To try and keep Levy happy? Just to try and keep everyone happy? Is he just saying the stuff to keep everybody happy? If he's just saying certain things to keep everyone happy, then he's just being a bit of a puppet, isn't he? But we're going to have to wait and see where it goes with him. We're going to have to give our man time. He's going to need a couple of seasons to get us working, to get us together. But that's my point on Ange, how he definitely needs his plan B 100%. The next man I want to go to is this man here. Seriously. He looks broken. 110% broken. He really does. What has happened to him? I mean, in the first few games, he looked absolutely solid. I mean, I'm lost for words here at the moment. I'm trying to think what to actually say about it. I mean, Bissouma and Maddison were rated at that time as a team the best two in the Premiership. We obviously know they're not the best two players in the Premiership, but they were playing the best football as midfielders in the Premiership. They were. And then as soon as he got that red card, and if I remember right, he got sent off against Forest, and wasn't it Luton for that diving one? If I'm wrong, someone please do tell me. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was Forest and the Luton one, he dived. But as soon as he got them red cards, my man's gone to, I have to mark my words because it's early in the morning. My man's just gone. He's disappeared. He's off. He barely looks like a shadow on the pitch. He looks scared on the ball. He looks scared off the ball. I mean, again, we go back to the game against Fulham. I mean, the game before at Palace, he actually done his job all right. And that was be a ball-winning midfielder, defend the midfield, get the ball and just get it up there to the next man. Don't bother dribbling about. Don't bother with no fancy passes. Just direct to the man in front, and that's that. I thought he had a good game against Palace for doing what he was meant to do. But as soon as it came to Fulham, that's where our defence got opened again, and I don't feel they should get much stick. He just disappeared again, barely even a shadow. It's like he's got no balls now. He's got no front now. He's got no courage to go forward. He's got no courage to go in for a tackle. He's gone to pieces. What has happened to Bissouma? What has happened to him? And I think one of the reasons I get so wound up with him is because I was one who debated with people at the beginning of the season. We have got a quality midfielder there. When he played at Brighton, he bossed up enough teams. He bossed us up. He cleared up City in the middle. He done Liverpool in the middle. He controlled that game against Arsenal that they had, even to the point where Liverpool was willing to pay 65, 70 million for him. In a way, I think, what was it we paid? 25, 30 mil for him? Again, someone do tell me. We got a steal for about 30 mil for him, hands down. But where's he gone? It's like playing with 10 men on the pitch when he's on there. He's just absolutely gone to nothing. So, for the first time in Ange's career, he meets top managers and he's clueless. That's just reading out the first bit, mate. It seems like he has been sussed out. Good managers adapt. I was screaming for subs at half time. Kulusevski, Bissouma, Johnson should have been benched. Now, I totally agree with that, but not at half time. Not all three of them. Because when you make 3 subs straight away, it just totally does the team. Like we saw for the 3rd time, he done it. But Johnson should have been off that bloody pitch. But the fact that we're sitting there saying Tim Werner should have come on. I think that just shows where we are at Spurs at the minute, doesn't it? When you're begging for Tim Werner to come on the pitch. Seriously. But I agree with you, mate. Half time, I was absolutely screaming as well. Get Werner on that pitch. Just get Johnson off. And then 5 minutes, we go 2-0 down. Still no subs. And you don't make no subs until we're 3-0 down. I don't get it. But that's going back on what I was talking about. That's going back on it. We're talking at the moment, Bissouma. What is just going on with him? If someone can please come up with some ideas, please do tell me. So Giant Rabbit says here, if you're playing a tough team and you're winning, you have to be able to tighten up and defend your lead. Yeah, we could do that. We can. As all we got to do is sit deeper. We have got 3 good people at tackling back there. Because Porro, for me, is never going to be a defender. He's not a defender. He's better than he was last season, definitely. And he definitely gets in front of those crosses, passes through the box. He definitely gets involved in it. But he's tackling, he's not defender. He is a wing back, or for me, we could even play him up the wing. He can cross the bloody ball. Do it. But yeah, sit a little bit deeper with a 4, but we weren't in front. So we got to press forward. And then with Ange's style, it opens us up even more. He's got to come up with his plan B. But going back on the Bissouma thing, I just don't know where to go. Is it a mental thing? Is he claiming the same sort of thing as Richarlison? I understand these days that I'd say 7 out of 10 players these days, they're brittle. They're very brittle. I mean, I'm 43 now. 43. Make myself sound proper old. But I remember the football of the 90s, like when I was still young. And then I grew up in the 95, 2000, 2010 times. That is when we saw a consistent world of quality players where you could name about 10 of them that were world class. These days, that's why I don't rate certain players as world class. Because back in them days, you saw some of the best. Yeah, you had the odd player that was brittle, but it just, they seem so much more brittle now. They all need a kiss on the cheek. They all need a bit of, it's all right, boy, don't worry, mummy's only around the corner. No, you're playing football. Get stuck into the game, mate. Get stuck into the bloody game. I mean, Johnson, how brittle does he look? Not just mentally, but physically. Is it that the whole team's brittle? I don't know, but players these days, they just do not seem to have the strength in the head for it anymore. Okay, Lockman. I'm not even going to go for the rest. Lookman. Hi, everyone. Big up. Yeah, big up to you too. Giant Rabbit again. Well, Real have to adapt to his style of play, and when they did, they hammered Celtic. Yeah, again, that's what we do. That's what good managers do. Phil Coyes, we'll pop on at some point, Dan. We'll tell you what, mate. Send me a message if you do, and I'll just put the link out there now. Then you can give me your opinion. I'll scroll down the side there. If you want to come on, just write it and I'll put the link on there. That's going to be my last one there, because the other one I've been told to do is I have to quit smoking. Believe it or not, I don't actually smoke that much. It's just when I'm on here talking about Spurs, I'm down the pub, and then I go through 10 or 20. But in general, I smoke 8 a day, quite laid back. But it's always when I'm talking about Spurs that I end up smoking like a bloody chimney. It's just frustration, I think, more than anything. Giant Rabbit, I'm bored of it all. We're not going to get top quality players, and look at Ange anyway. It's the same old, same old. Yeah, you've repeated it, mate. It is true. But if we get top 4, top 5 even, we shall see. that is when we will see if he gets backed. But do you know what? I don't even want Champions League for Spurs this year, next season. I don't. I really don't. I think Brian, after having a talk with me and Dave on our show, yeah, I don't want we're not ready for that Champions League. The only way we're going to be ready for that Champions League, finish fourth or fifth, get in the Champions League, and if Levy goes and slams down 200 million on the table to at least replace, to get a striker in there, out and out striker. I know Son can cover us, but we could also put him on the left, and to get us a winger, another winger. We need a playmaker to take Maddison's place when need be, or fighting for his place, not just to come in as Alex puts it perfect. Back up. Forget the backup side of it. Understand you need one or two players as backup. But we want players that are going to come into the club and either take that place or fight for that place. Run the player ragged. Same as I think Dragusin, give him 6 months, he's going to be fighting Romero for that place. I have got faith in Dragusin. I think he's going to turn out good. But that's going to cost us a lot of money. Yeah, if we're in the Champions League, that's definitely going to help bring the players in. But then do we pay the wages? That's a different story, isn't it? But Spurs don't pay those sort of wages, except when we get Tim Werner in, and he's the third highest paid player in the team, as far as I know. So, and Lockman saying hello to Giant Rabbit, and who else got here? James Flower, how you doing, mate? Hope everything's cool for you in the morning. Better players get better results. Yes, mate, exactly what I just said. I'm just a bit behind on the talk, so you already said it, mate. It's very true. And then Giant Rabbit obviously sending his love out. So who else we got here? Audio, you're always on my team. Appreciated, mate. Morning, bruv. Morning to you too. And what's Giant Rabbit got to say here? That's because all our managers are puppets. It never feels right because they're just all actors in huge wages. Yeah, but aren't most of them, mate? They really are. Most of them really are. I mean, in the Premiership now, there's only two that you can't say is a puppet, and one of them's leaving. That's Klopp and Pep. And they are all puppets. It's all about the money and everything now. It's all about the money. And then you got Lockman and Giant Rabbit both saying hello to Danny. And Tony, what have you got to say here, mate? Conte had a shit squad. Do you know what? I'll go with you on this one. Let me read your bit first, and I'll go on my opinion on that one. Conte had a shit squad. If Conte had his squad, he would have got results. He always did. That was just it. It wasn't the most sexy football, but he did always get his results. He had avoided playing so defensively, 3-4-3, can be attacking football with the right players. Now, I feel if he would have played some of the players in their right positions in that season, we could have done better. I'm not saying we'd have done good, because that was an abysmal team overall, but we could have done slightly better. He was playing players out of position. But then what sort of options did he have? I mean, if Ange goes and gets us top 4 this year, he's done brilliant. Take me out off to the man, he's done excellent. But Conte getting us in the top 4, I feel that was more of an achievement. Look at the crap squad he had. I mean, Tony, you're 100% right there, mate. Look at the abysmal squad he had there. Bar Kane, even Son. I mean, if it would have been my way for the season, I would have sold Son last year for just the season he had, until I found out he had the injury. I didn't know he had the injury, not until right at the end. But that is how bad Son was last year as well. Everyone was. It was a shambles. So Conte getting that pile of crap into the top 4, I think he did. I think he deserves more credit than Ange does if he gets us in the top 4. But Ange definitely deserves the credit as well, because he came into he's quite a fresh team, and everything was pretty broken at Spurs. Ben, what you got to say here, mate? Love you as always, mate. Really do. You say it how it is. And do you know what? Unlike a lot of people, you've actually got a nice way of saying it. But I despise inverted fullbacks. Look, it works on some games. It works with some people. But when you've got a team like, I don't know, Pep's team, City, they do it quite a lot on one of his plans. because he ain't just got a plan A or B. He's got a C, D, E, F, G with it as well. And then he even changes his whole thing around for when he comes to play at Spurs, just to play it our way, just to do us at our ground, to make us look like schoolboys. And they did. How we did not get a thrash in there, I will never know. But that is a world-class manager. That is a quality manager. That is why a manager at least needs a plan B. But then when you got people like Pep, you got C, D, E, F, G with it. And Giant Rabbit, what we're saying on about the inverted wingers here. Inverted wingers always end up congesting the final third area where Son and Maddison are supposed to be. 100% agree, mate. I said it on show the other day on Sunday when I had that super long one. God, that was a bit of a marathon. I must admit, I felt knackered by the end of that day. Was not expecting that long one. But it's true. When they invert and then it comes up to the other end of the pitch, they're falling over each other sometimes. I mean, I like the idea of wingbacks, not just fullbacks, but ones that are going to charge up the pitch. But then that's when you need your defensive midfielder to come right back and cover the free. In a way, you can say that's what they do, but they underlap. And I am not digging this inverted stuff anymore. I'm really not. I mean, Ben. Oh, pardon me. Play fullbacks as fullbacks. I agree, mate. Totally agree. But I want them slightly more as wing backs as such. So they are going to charge up the pitch. And then have the front two up there, divert them into the middle more, invert them into the middle more, whichever way you want me to say it. And then you can have the wing backs get right up there and do some crossing in there. Or, I'll repeat myself again, just use Udoji inverted, but at least get Porro overlapping on the wing to cross that bloody ball in, because no one can cross that. Sorry, I just had to count to 10 there. No one can cross that bloody ball except him. Perisic, excellent crosser of the ball, but we played him as a wing back, and he is not a wing back. He might have done it in Milan, but look how slow the Italian league is. I follow it. I've watched it for years. I haven't watched it that much this year, I must admit. Watched a few games from Inter and that. That was why I got to see Dragusin, because one of the games I did watch before the end of the year was Genoa versus Inter. And yeah, Inter, they've only lost one game all season, as far as I remember. They're about 15 points clear last time I checked. He had a quality game against Inter, also scored the goal because he's big fella, head the ball good, got control of the ball. And he actually bossed the game from defence against Inter Milan, who are absolutely smashing it out there at the minute. But Ben, I'm 100% with you, mate, and anyone else who says it as well. I don't want just fullbacks, like old school Gary Neville sort of thing. I just want them to at least try it. What's this comes here? I live right every morning. Yeah, go on. Sorry, I was just talking to the missus there. She's my mod. So she was just asking me a question there because my wife's quite fresh on doing this on the modding side. And yeah, I don't want just total fullbacks like an old Gary Neville, whatever else and that, but at least use them as wing backs overlapping. I know it's just repeating it, but it's getting to be such a jar at the moment. And do you know what? It's good to see that I'm not the only one looking at it like this. I'm not the only one seeing it like this. Because I don't, it's just not for me. People, it's just not for me. If someone else talks about it, I'll mention it again, but people, it's not for me. It's winding me up. It really is. So, Giant Rabbit, what have you got to say here? Dragusin had a very good game for me, but nobody was protecting the defenders. Exactly, like I said earlier, mate. His second half was a bit cagey, but his first half, I thought he was pretty good. He's got control of the ball. You can see that. But he just had no cover whatsoever. Neither of them did. I mean, enough times Romero got caught where he had to go wide because Porro weren't there either. And then Dragusin has to cut the middle and the ball goes across that way. If we didn't have a keeper like Vicario, we would easily be 10 points less this year. That is why you need a smashing keeper. That is why one thing I will always big myself up on this one. I knew Vicario was good. I just didn't know he was going to be this good. A lot of people wanted Raya. I did not want Raya. A lot of people didn't want him either. But when we got Vicario, practically a majority of people turned around and said, we've just done a Daniel Levy. No, I knew we hadn't. That is one thing I will always give myself a bit of credit there for, because I already knew about the player. But a lot of people don't follow other leagues. They only follow the Premiership. And it's understandable why, because that's why it's the best league on the planet. So, get the Ford Arteta out of my club. Well, I presume that's an Arsenal supporter then. Dan, do you think your team will change next year if you get a couple of players in? I mean, that's a fair question, yeah? Any team can change if you get a few players in. One thing you can definitely say about Spurs at the moment is, yes, we're at the start of this system, or what everything else you want to call it. It's, again, I'm getting bored of hearing the words and that. But Arsenal are in their 5th year of it, Spurs are in their 1st year. So again, you've got to give Ange some leeway there. But I do think if we get that front lot changed, and maybe he changes his style a bit, we've got a spine line there now. We've got a solid goalkeeper. For me, he's got to go up there and buy the season, along with, I mean, for me, not in particular order, but 4 best buys this year, I would say Declan Rice definitely up there, but for 100 million, what do you expect? Van der Ven definitely gets up there. Vicario gets up there. Who else would I go for? 4th place for me goes McAllister, if I've said his name right, that Liverpool got. Anyone else got an idea? Do tell me on the comment. But they're my main 4 I would go for. Definitely my main 4. So, where was I on this one? I've totally lost myself on the comment side. I've gone down too far. 1, 2, 3. There we are. Sorry, people. I just pressed the wrong button and went totally down on myself. Just got to find what was getting said there. Yep, on how Bissouma was and everything. This is Ange's bigger job. Ellie just when we lost. Yeah, totally lost it. I pressed the wrong button and here I am. Got well behind myself there. This is where you can just tell I'm still a bit fresh at this one. Just totally pressed the wrong button. I pressed new comments and it took me to the bottom. This is a very high risk football. So Ange's style can always leave our defenders looking naked at times. Totally. We could have, I've said it before, mate. I totally agree we are. We could have the best 4. We could have the best 4 in the universe sitting there. Not just in the world, in the entire universe. I mean, get some aliens getting playing there, whatever. They'd probably understand the handball better than the rest of us. But we're going to concede goals through and through. His style seems to be a bit of a you score 3, we score 4. But we haven't got it good enough up front for that. We really haven't. So we can't afford to play a you score 3, we score 4. Because by the end of the season, we've conceded so many goals. And we can't keep doing it like that. And so what's Lookman got to say here? Ange's brought us back to the feel-good factor. But that doesn't win us anything. He has to adapt to a high level of the English Premiership. Hopefully he'll do that. And next season, more quality players. Yeah, I agree with that. It's like I said at the start, he had the easiest job ever, winning the fans over, play attacking football. And yeah, he has done that. But then in certain games you see it and you're just, it almost looks more abysmal than Conte. But it still looks better because we're going forward. This is where I feel a lot of our games have been a lie. They've lied to us. That's where I don't like going into all the text and all that about it and everything. I think a lot of that is just deceiving. Because a lot of the time it says we've had 85% of the ball for the past 20 minutes or the first half. But what have we actually controlled? Just because we got the flipping ball? No, not at all. They're sitting in their box knowing what we're going to do. So they wait, and then we do a sloppy pass like we always do up there. Someone gets hold of it and goes for the counter-attack. It's just the way they do it. So it's saying that we've got control of it, but we haven't actually got control of anything because we're playing the way they want us to play. Whereas going back on the Fulham one quickly, they played the way we want a team to play. They came at us. That was what we want. That is what we like a team to do with us. And we weren't expecting that for sure. I wasn't expecting that. And yeah, they totally took us to the cleaners on our own bloody game. Conte would have us higher than Ange with these players. I guarantee it. Let's face it. Yeah, yeah. He couldn't work with that dross. I agree with it. But would he have us better? Pardon me. Would he have us in a better place? I don't know. I really don't. But I don't think we're in that much of a different position. It was only when Conte actually left that we lost out of fourth place and everything else. It's just Ange's style looks better on the eye. Conte's just look bloody painful. Same as Mourinho. Proper old school. Like old school these days. I mean, what does they call it? Dinosaur? Okay, Ellie, just a girl loves Spurs. Ellie, just a lady I love dearly as well. Like I've said, you've got heart of gold on here. You're brilliant to all the Spurs supporters, all the people who do their stuff on here. If more people in the world had a heart like you, we wouldn't have so many problems. But that's my compliment for you. And I think everybody says the same thing. I wasn't just broken with Conte's style of football. It was exciting in many matches. All singing Antonio, Antonio. Dan, what I thought was Conte was spot on calling out the club and the players. He, yeah, yeah, he was a G then and loved it. That's probably the only manager we've had since Harry Redknapp that wasn't an out-and-out puppet. Poch, he was a puppet. Like it or lump it, people, he was a puppet. He kept his mouth shut for nearly 550 days. He was a puppet, and the most of them have been. Conte called it out because Conte don't take no crap off no one. He didn't take no crap off Inter. He didn't take it off Chelsea. He did, but the other thing was him. He's a ticking time bomb, and it all just explodes when it comes to him. Right, Tony. This is Ange's biggest job ever, and he will say anything to keep it. I don't know what to say there, mate. Will he? Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me why. It just really wouldn't surprise me if he did. The other point I just want to get to is what someone mentioned earlier. This man here. Yeah. When we first got him, he was looking good. He looked sharp. He looked brilliant. But then he's another one. He just went downhill fast. He really did. He just went downhill. But I think that's also to do with the way we play him. I already said, like when someone mentioned him, you can't have a left-footed player running up the right-hand side to the end who's meant to cross it in. He has to step it to the left. I mean, we've been through this one already. I personally think, and I said it at the start, again, it's only because I follow a bit of Italian football. When he was playing at Juventus, he played on the right, but they used to invert him a bit more. And then he had a good 6-7 months out, basically straight, because when they got Chiesa is just a better winger, hands down. He's one of the best out there. But then they started using him as a number 10. And then they stuck Ronaldo in the middle. And then they had him come in front as an almost false nine. And that is where I think we've seen the best of him, when he's played a number 10 sort of style. Yes, he had a couple of crap games with it as well, but I think his games look better as a number 10. No, he's not going to take Maddison's place, but I do think he definitely plays better as a 10 or even like Jesus as a false 9. Ben, what are you saying here? Bissouma will never be a 6. No, not for what we need. We need an anchor man there. We need a solid man there. Yeah, he did it. He did it for Brighton a few times, but he was always playing box to box there, and that's when my man was at his peak. Definitely. And what's Mike Zappa got to say here? Sorry, came on late. That's perfectly fine by me, mate. Not everyone's on time. Of course not. I'm a bit of a time freak, you see. I don't even like being a second late. I'm a bit of an OCD on that one. When I was younger, if I used to be a minute late, my mother used to ground me for 2 days, 3 days. So no, I'm never late with nothing. But my missus is total opposite. If we got to go out at 10:30, I'm on her case still at 29 minutes past 10 to go out. As Giant Rabbit said here, there's no pressure on these players at the club, and Kulu plus Johnson are proof of this. It's true. But again, I think we're playing Kulu in the wrong position, and Johnson, was he meant to have been played as much as he was? I don't think so. I think that has come down to injuries more than anything. And Lockman, was he saying, at Dan, we have been buying mostly mentally weak players for too long. Yes, we do. That's exactly what I said earlier, mate. But then I think a lot of these players are weak these days. A lot of them are. They really are just weak in the head. I mean, if you want to, you can go political with that crap, but I'm not going to go politics on this bloody page, on this channel. But it's true. Younger lot are more brittle these days. End of. I mean, we need a proper captain out there as far as I'm concerned. And Giant Rabbit again says, sometimes you need a leader to strike. Mate, you just took the words out of my mouth. Sometimes you need a leader to strike fear into the players who are lackluster on the ball. But we don't have that. But one question I'll give back to you. How many teams have got that now? It's what I said. Players are different now. They're brittle now. Managers ain't quite the same they were. I mean, if we'd have played like that and we had Fergie as our manager, they'd have come out of there battered. They'd have got a kicking. He'd have started throwing punches. He wouldn't have had none of it. But that's why Son, for me, is not captain material. I get why everyone thinks he's great. I think he's great. He's probably the best finisher on the planet with his left and right foot because they're both 100%. You'll get another player who's world class as such. It'll be 100% on his right, but 95% on his left. For me, Son is not world class. He's an extremely good player and he's extremely good at what he does. But the thing he is world class at is finishing with his left and right in exactly the same way. He's very technical in that way, very consistent in that way, and the man has got composure. No, you can't take it away from him. But for me, he's not my captain material. Right. The only thing I would say, Conte should have shouldered some of the blame. But you know what our players noted for throwing the manager under the bus. Yes, very much so. But most blame our board and the headman Levy. Okay, one thing I'll mention on this earlier. We all know Levy is to blame for the way our club is. But one thing people can't go and do is blame Levy for what happened against Fulham. You can't. The summer window was good. Bit of luck, but it was good. January's always dodgy. I mean, getting Werner in there, oh my God. But Dragusin was a good buy. But the manager looked lost. He didn't do nothing until we went 3-0 down. The players, no heart, no passion, no balls on them. So that one, like it or lump the man for what he's done to the OEPs, everything else. You can't put the blame on Levy for that. That one's not Levy's fault. That was the manager and the players. But for me, I grilled the manager more for that one, even more so than the players, because he took so long to change it. And what's Mike saying here? Sick of Kulu not crossing. If Porro not bothered defending, then at least let him do the crossing. That's exactly what I say, mate. That's exactly what I say. That is why, for me, Porro is not a right back. He's a wing back, through and through. Like Trent Alexander-Arnold. For me, he is not a right back, and everybody knows he's not a right back because defending ain't his strong point. But we all know that boy can cross and pass the ball as good as anybody on this planet. That is why Liverpool started playing him in the middle, and he started looking good in the middle. And how good would he look up on the wing? Having a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold who can cross that ball in there like he can, or take a corner. That is where I think we see the best of Porro. Overlapping on the right-hand side. That is what I want to see. So I've just got to go here to start one. Oh, thank you very much, Chang. That's much appreciated. Of all the Spurs YouTubers, you're all by far the sanest. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that one, mate. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say we're the sanest out there, mate. I'd say we're probably some of the most insane ones going about, without a doubt. But one thing you can say about Spurs supporters, we are loyal to our club. And we are. It's just some people have their hopes too high. Some people have no hopes at all. But can you blame anyone for getting high hopes when we win 10 games, when we go 10 games unbeaten? But can you blame anyone? Can you blame anyone for not having no hope when we have been destroyed over and over and over again, like we have done for the past 24 years with one bloody cup? And the League One at that. Do you know what? I don't care if we finish 10th or 11th this year, as long as we'd have won that League Cup. That is all I cared about at the time. But it's Spurs, isn't it? That Fulham game, it had Spursy written all over it. That was the thing about it. Now, I'm sorry if I do miss a couple of chats here because I'm falling well behind. And like I say, I'm still getting the hang of reading these out, doing this, reading these out. But I do promise people, the more I do this, the better I will get at it. And there's one man out there I would definitely like to thank, and his name is Rob Belcher. I don't know whether he's watching this morning or not, but he's the one who spoke to me and told me to start doing your own thing, not just going on other people's shows all the time. And where I was going on Tom's show all the time, and Tom deserves all the credit in the world because he's the one who got the Hotspur hook going. Tom asked me to be his co-host, so I thought, you know what? Yeah, why not? Got to know Tom quite well, and he's a good mate of mine. Sadly, he left. He just had enough Spurs, full stop. He had enough talking about Spurs. He had enough of the depression at Spurs, which there is a lot of at times for obvious reasons. And he just wanted out. He had enough. And he asked me if I wanted to take the channel over. So I did. So I've got Tom to thank for that. Yes, I went through a phase where I didn't come on here. That was all down to medical stuff. But Rob was the one who told me to come back on. Start doing your own thing. So do you know what? I thought, stuff it. Why not? But let's get back to this. This isn't about me. Let's get back to this one. Ellie. But Porro defensive stats are fabulous. But I agree with Dan, better deployed as a winger. That is what I mean by stats. Stats can be deceiving. You can say a player has made 100 passes on that pitch and 95% of them have been spot on. Yes, because he's passed to the man 2 foot next to him, back to him, next to him, back to him. That's where stats can be deceiving, Ellie, I think. Where he is good at on the defence side, he's good at blocking. He's good at getting, yes, you get the odd tackle off him, but he's good at blocking. He's got balls on him. He's like a little bulldog. He has got some front on him. And I think the man's got a winning mentality as well. Like Vicario, like Adoji. Van der Ven has definitely got a winning mentality on him, and I think Romero has as well. The rest of the pitch, Sarr, we're still going to have to see what his overall mentality is. He's been our best player, one of our best midfielder consistently this season. But whether he's got a winning mentality or not, that one we're yet to see. But I think with our back line, we definitely have. And our goalkeeper, he is our captain material. He is. But do I want a goalkeeper as my captain? No, I don't. It's not just because of Lores. I mean, I thought Lores was done and dusted 4 years ago. We should have got rid of him. But I don't like a goalkeeper as captain. He can't get his word out up the other end of the pitch. But you can see Vicario tries. He bosses his defence. They can hear him up in midfield half time, but can hear him at the other end. A goalkeeper can't control that game as a captain. But for me, Vicario is our captain material. The other one you could look at, some people would either say Højbjerg is a sort of captain, but for me, no, he's not actually good enough on the pitch to be a captain. Romero, I think he will be captain material for a team in due time, but I know he's got no yellow cards lately or nothing, and he's been good, but he is too erratic on a moment where you need him not to be as a captain. But I don't think we really do have captain material on there because, like I said, Son is not captain for me. Tony Rodriguez, what are you saying here, mate? Bissouma is a TikTok player. He wanted to come on London and party. What, like Rashford as well? Go out, get on it the night before, and then make a phone call in the next day like, oh, mate, I've got a bit of headache. Now, don't you lie to me here, mate. or anyone on here. Don't say no one's ever done that for the next day at work when they've had a complete bender on Friday or Saturday night, can't get out of the hangover. It's Sunday night and you got work on Monday and it's like, sorry, boss, I got man flu or I'm just not well. I think everyone's done that at some time. Bissouma would be much better with Wanyama behind him, breaking the play. Yeah, Bissouma, that's what I mean. At the start, he was playing box to box. That's where he used to play most of the time at Brighton. And that is where he was at his best. He was a box to box. So what's Lockman saying here? Modern football just became soft. I remember Vinnie Jones, Terry Butcher. Yeah. You can even go back and say John Terry, Steven Gerrard, Rio Ferdinand. Even though I really don't like this man, I'm going to mention. I mean, if I ever met him, you sort of like, he'd be one of those people you'd spit on your hand and slap him around the face for it to make sure it goes proper. Carragher. He still had the bottle to get stuck in and was loud on the pitch. Even bloody Neville was more of a man than half of this lot. And that's going some. Really going some. I mean, one thing I do want to mention quickly before I go through the rest of the talks is that I was just looking through some of the news as you do and that. And something actually quite interesting came up. This man here, Ben Johnson. Interesting. I know he's played for the England under-21s and that. I mean, from what I know, from what I read, like from what I put on here, he's played about 10 times. And he's had 10 starts this season, but he plays left back just as good as he plays right back. That sounds good for me. But are we just looking for a backup player, or are we looking for a player that is good enough to go and try and take Adoji's place or Porro's place? To me, this is where we go back to that word that Alex despises, backup. But he's free. He's free. It's got Levy written all over it. I don't think it'd be the worst idea. If he can definitely cover, but also fight for that place, I don't think it'd be a bad idea. And especially on a free one as well. I mean, he's quick on the ball from when I have seen him play. I can't say I've seen him play much. I've only seen him play, 2-3 times. He's quick on the ball. He likes to get it up there. He can pass, but he can also defend. But my man there, I would definitely say he is more of a left back, right back, not a wing back sort of style. But I don't think it'd be a bad idea for us. I really don't. So I'm going to carry on going through the chats here. Right, Daniel E, what you saying? Straight up, Bissouma has gone to Till. Yeah, there's a different words you can use for that, but he definitely has. Mate, what reading there? Mate, approve me. Should stay at Spurs. Should stay at Spurs. Should he stay at Spurs? I think we'd definitely keep the man if we can keep him as a box-to-box player. If we can get that anchor man there, that defensive midfielder there, that one like Wanyama used to be, that one who's got a pair, that one like Roy Keane used to be, Patrick Vieira, Gattasu when he was in Italy. The list can go on. We need someone there who is a man, not a boy. We need someone there who's got a pair on him who is, sorry about that, I can't help but, it's frustrating. We need someone who can get stuck into that game, control that game, and then just get rid of the ball. You can't always mess about with it. When in doubt, kick it out. This is another thing which really gets my back going with Ange a bit, yeah? It's just little bits with Ange. Not as a whole, but it's little bits. Maybe I'll put this one on the team, not so much him, because it's how he wants it to play. Why is it we take more chances in front of our own bloody goal than we do up the other end of the pitch? Why? I mean, Vicario, when he passes the ball out to Romero or Van der Ven, there's been so many times there's been a player either side of them right on a sandwich for him, but they still pass the ball with him. They're still trying to dribble it round and do another short ball. Yet when we go up the other end of the flipping pitch, we don't want to pass it. We hang on to it for about 10 passes. No, wait, and try and pass it into the box. The only one up, it's like they won't pass or direct the ball up there unless there's a 80% chance that it goes in to the man. Whereas Maddison, He's got a 20% chance. Do you know what? I'll do it. I'll take it. I'll go for it. If it don't go right, he thinks stuff it. I'll do it on the next one. No one else does, except the defenders in front of our goal. Why don't we do it in front of theirs? I just don't get it. Maybe some people need to teach me something about football and modern day football. Maybe I'm going on about it and I'm too old on it, but I'm just not getting it. Why take more risks in front of your own goal than you do the other one? If anyone can give me an idea on it, please do. Understand that he wants to play the ball out. I get that. But why don't we do it in front of their goal? Or is it just up front with that poor? It could well be that. When you're relying on players like Richarlison, Johnson, Kulusevski, you're not going to get far, are you? And again, with Kulusevski, for me, he's a number 10. He's better as a number 10. And what's Daniel saying here? Yeah, but I'm not giving Conte credit for losing against teams like Moore, Middlesbrough and Sheffield. You know what, mate? I think he'd done that half on purpose just to prove a point. I agree with what you're saying, but he still got us in 4th place with one of the worst Spurs teams I've ever seen. You got to give credit when it's due, mate, whether you like it or not. It's like Arsenal. Dare you say that dirty word? But credit where it's due. Look at them past 2 years. They have played some fantastic football. Not just good to watch, but it's actually been fantastic. Don't say none of you lot have not been jealous, because I have. Same as they was jealous of us when we had Poch. Simple as that. He's got to stop this inverted. Yeah, just because it's traffic congestion. You're right, mate. I've already said it. I've already gone through it. I'm not going to go through it again because you're 100% right. You're right. You're 100% right. I do not agree with this inverted stuff. I just don't like it. Right. What's he saying? At Daniel, he can't argue with there. Our time in Europe under Conte was embarrassing at times. Spurs are embarrassing at times. Full stop. We really are. Philly 2109. How you doing, mate? Always see you on here. Thanks for coming on and giving us the support you do, mate. Big up, Danny. As a fellow follower of Italian football, there is no such thing as wing back. It's just a failed winger or fullback. Yeah, with when it came to Perisic out there, they did play him in as a sort of wing back. But left back at the same time. But they played him as more of a wing back to slowly come forward and then put the ball over. Because the Italian football is that much slower. You can do that, but you can't do that in the Premiership. And I said there, it says we're in pole position to sign Ben Johnson. Yes, Way already sold that one. Who's actually said this? What's that about Ledley King? Ben Johnson following his recommendation from legend Ledley King. I didn't know that one, mate. I just read through the papers and, I say read through the papers. We don't do that, but just on the news in the morning on the PC and that, I didn't know it was Ledley King who suggested that. Oh. Well, if Ledley King suggested it, Ledley King was a good defender. But I can only call him good for the sheer fact that it weren't his fault. No, I won't. That's unfair. He was quality and that man could have been a world-class defender. Just the injuries he had. I mean, at times he was playing with no cartilage on his bloody knees. So it's just not good. He wasn't going to get the games in. I mean, in this day and age, he wouldn't have even played football. But if Ledley King suggested him, why not? He's got to have an eye for it. He was a great defender himself. Maybe it could work. But my point with him, is he just going to be this backup thing, or is he going to be able to come on and give Porro and Udogie a shout for their game? I don't think he's good enough for that. But at times, you do need also those players where they are backup, some of them. But the majority of them, I want them on there to be able to fight for their position. I want them on there. So Maddison has a crap game, for example. Right, you're off. 2 games. We got someone to take your place. Van der Ven has a poor game. Right, you're off. Player, 2 games. The reason I use them 2 is because they're 2 of our best players. In midfield, I know we can mess about more. I mean, Bentancur, he's past 7 games. He's gone downhill as well. He's just not on the same level downhill as what Bissouma's gone. But if you really want to be straight with Bentancur, by his standards, he's almost done exactly what Bissouma done. No, he's not playing as bad as Bissouma when he does, but by his standards were that high at our club because he was quality. Yes, he had his injury and that, but even when he's come back out of his injury and played a few games, he looked 10 times better than he has the past 7 games. Is he ever going to come back properly from that ACL injury? I don't know. I can't answer anyone on that. None of us do, because an ACL can change or end a player. I mean, look what he did with VVD, Virgil van Dijk. This is actually his first good, solid season since he's been back from there. Since he's been back from that ACL injury that Pickford, of all people, gave to him at Everton. My mate Mike, who's a Liverpool supporter, he went off his nut over that. Anyone would have losing Virgil van Dijk, but the fact that it happened at Everton, you've got to admit that was comical. Same as if Arsenal played Bayern Munich and it's Harry Kane who scores the goals, who knocks them out. We can only hope. All right, George, what's he saying? Morning, everyone. City, Arsenal, Liverpool. We're in a painful 3 weeks. Hope I'm wrong. Yes, they are. But then look at the games we got ahead of ourselves. When we get into that bit, Newcastle, I'm not sure if this is the right order, but Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal, City. And Chelsea's going to be put in there somewhere as well. And Stamford Bridge is always 3 points gone. Chelsea is usually 3 points gone. I mean, look what they did to us this year when we was wiping the floor with them. Or should I say, look what we've done to ourselves. Chelsea is probably the last place, even if they have just been relegated, that Spurs want to go to. Because that is the one we got the worst history with in the world. It is, our history at Chelsea is absolutely abysmal. But then our history at Anfield is not good. Yeah, we've got a good ratio against City, but we now play different football. We now play the football they want us to play. Whereas before, we sat back. And City don't like that. Same as we don't like that. Only difference is City have got more than enough skill to open anybody up. So, yeah. Ellie, what are you saying here? Give Ange time. He will get this right, and I believe in what he's doing. And he believes, more importantly. Yeah, but Ellie, I'm still not going to go with this inverted crap. I've had enough of it already. Like I said before, even if he just uses it on one side, but use Porro to his bloody strength. Let him charge up the right and cut Kulusevski or Johnson or whatever Mickey Mouse you put up there, because they both are. I mean, the way we've played it on the side, sometimes you might as well have Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck next to him. But let him charge up on the overlap. That's what my man is meant to do. That's what he does. But that's what happens. That's what happens when you play him out of position. Right, Nicholas Conson, you all right, mate? How you doing? Always seen you on here. Ledley King's cousin. Who's that? Ben Johnson. Oh, well, if that's true, is he just saying something for his cousin then, or is he saying something that's real? I suppose that one we just have to wait and see. Right, Philly 2109. Arsenal, Liverpool, and City are going to try and sign Kimmich. That was one player I said I'd love to get hold of, and one player I would have thought that maybe if we worked hard enough, maybe we could have got him on the Harry Kane deal. But I don't think Kimmich is going to go anywhere because he wasn't getting on with Tuchel. That's why he got taken out of the team for a while. But now Tuchel's going at the end of the season. I'll be very surprised if Kimmich goes anywhere. But then again, when Liverpool or no, I don't see him going Liverpool either, because they're losing Klopp, and I think Liverpool are going to take a few steps back. Because I think when Liverpool lose Klopp, I think they're going to lose their goalkeeper. I think they're going to lose Van der Ven, because Van der Ven's already said it's not going to be the same without him. And we all know they're going to lose Salah as well. But what you were saying, going to go for Kimmich. Buttoners and a fan, I must do backflips and cartwheels for a West Ham reject in Yeah, well, we're used to it at Spurs, isn't it? It just seems we never go for the world-class players, or what you want to call world-class. We never go for the quality ones, do we? We always either go for the ones that seem to be done and dusted, maybe had a good career, or we go for the ones who have got potential. Every time we spend more than 40, 50 million on a player, it never seems to go right, does it? I mean, Richarlison speaks for itself, and look at that fat, lazy. I should have even called him fat. That was out of order. But that lazy thing, and Ndombele, I think the thing that winds everyone up about Ndombele is he's actually got some skill on him, that man. He can actually pass that ball. But he's just lazy. He just looks unfit. He can't be bothered. When you can't handle the pace in bloody Serie A, you ain't gonna handle it in the Premiership. Not a chance. And he couldn't even handle the pace when Napoli was absolutely wiping the floor with people. What's this one, Ellie? Not a new buyer, but Braithwaite at Everton be a very good idea. I don't think that would be the worst idea. Player I'd really want to see us get hold of, who I think it'd definitely be a chance, is the one at Fulham who just wiped the floor with us. What's his name? Paulina. Yes, I think he'd do a very good job for a DM for us and controlling it and also passing it forward. I think he got a bit of a mix in him. He's not a quite out and out anchor man, but he's a bit more. He's a ball winning midfielder with a deep line playmaker to him. Similar to what Bentancur done at Juventus. But I don't think Bentancur's reliable enough to be our DM. Not in that aspect. I think he goes a bit. His concentration goes down a couple of times. Right, Lily White Lane. Morning, Dan, and all the chat. Morning to you too. Hope you're doing good. What's Giant Rabbit saying on this one? Ange's brought back pretty football, but we've still conceded a huge 43 goals after supposedly improving our defence. We are way open. Ange needs to tighten up. That's exactly it, mate. That's exactly the point. We could have the best defenders. Now, if we had that defence playing Conte style, we'd be solid. Absolutely solid. But we're not. They're pressing so high forward, they're going to concede goals. Like it or lump it, they are going to concede goals. We just need to have more up the front that can score bloody goals. Why is Mason still at the club? Don't ask me, mate. I really haven't got Scooby-Doo on that one. I haven't got a bloody clue. What some people say is that he's getting trained to be the manager one day. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely makes you think positive about Spurs, doesn't it? When we got a player sitting there like that, a coach who was never even a good player, and we're possibly looking at him to become our manager. It's got Spursy written all over it again, hasn't it? Lily White Lane. I think a lot of our fans need to calm down. We're in phase one of a rebuild, and it's a transitional season. After finishing 8th and losing Kane, many were predicting us mid-table. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I get it. Yeah, I get it. It's a transitional period, this and that. I wasn't expecting us to fight for 4th place. I thought we'd be lucky if we finished 7th. But the point I'll make to you on this one, Lily White, is when someone's done good, I know I've repeated this, but when someone's done good, they need to be told about it. He's had an excellent game. He's done brilliant, whatever. But when a player has done bad, you have to tell him. When a manager is brilliant, you got to tell him. But when a manager makes faults like he does in his last game, you cannot put that game against Fulham, against rebuild, or against transitional season. That was just terrible managing and terrible players. No passion, no heart, no balls, complacency, the lot. So I'll agree with you on what you're saying as a whole. But with that game and other games I've seen, nah, for me, sorry, rebuild and transitional don't come into it. When you make a mistake once, it's a mistake. When you make a mistake the second time, it's sort of get your act together. When you make the same mistake the third time, are you stupid? Or is it just you really need a slap round the face to get your head together? That's 3 times. Ange has done that now. Left it too late and brought on 3 players. 3 times. You can't keep making the same mistakes. I get it. Transitional period. I get it. But no, he has to be told when it's not going right. And I don't agree with his one style of play. I don't agree with the underlap, but that's the way he plays. But again, he's one style of play. And I think his subbing from the bench has been terrible as a whole. So no, someone needs to be told about themselves. But it is the transitional part. If we finish 4th, we've definitely punched above our weight. But no, you've got to tell someone when they're doing it wrong. And I think he's doing it wrong. Giant Rabbit. I didn't like Conte's style, but his style at Chelsea was much more pleased on the eye because he was backed at winning the league and then scoring 88 goals. I think that says it all, doesn't it, mate? If he's an out and out old school manager with just dinosaur football, then how did they score that many? They weren't the best to watch at times, but they definitely weren't as bad as us. But the thing they had is they had pace, they had counter-attack on them. That's what I said earlier. You can play Conte's way and it looked good. When you can sit that deep, get the ball, bang, faster up the other end of the pitch. That team he had, who did he have running up the right for him? What, have Emerson Royale on the right, flipping Ben on the left? Yeah. How was he meant to even make that look good? How could anyone make that look good? You could cover them in gold dust and diamonds, and that's still going to look poor. Lily White Lane. Would you sell Bissouma in the summer, Dan? If he keeps playing like this, and we can bring a better player in, then yeah. Because if we don't watch it, Højbjerg's definitely gone. I don't think we get rid of Ollie Skip because it all goes with grown home and all that sort of stuff. But if we don't watch it, Bissouma, he will become our next Højbjerg. And then he's going to totally lose the mentality. Højbjerg can handle being where he is. He doesn't like it. He doesn't want it. But he'll still fight for his place. Even though he's not quite good enough for it, he'll still fight for it. He's got that mentality to go for it. Bissouma, he already looks broken. And people have said that he already looks mentally broken. Not just physically, mentally. So he's not going to handle just sitting on the subs bench, is he? If we get offered 50 million for him, yeah, baked potato. See you later, mate. Off you go. But that's only if we can bring in someone who is better than him. Otherwise, he's going to take Højbjerg's place. Ellie, only high risk if players don't fit. So Ange is identifying who it is and who's not, and has already got rid of much of the chav. Then once he assembles his best technicians to play Ange ball, will be cooking. I do agree with you there, Ellie, but we are always going to have that problem with him of getting the ball over us or over us down the wings and being wide open down the wings where they're inverted so much. And when Van der Ven is not on that pitch, it showed. Didn't it show? You can't be so reliant on one player. And the fact that it's a defender we are that reliant on, that's crazy on its own. I mean, that's madness. It shouldn't be a defender that keeps that whole team together. That you would say is more of a midfielder. Yes, you need your good defenders and that, but I mean, we used to have Harry Kane was the only thing that kept our team together. But the fact that one defender has gone missing and we've got a World Cup winner sitting next to him, and the team falls apart. Same as if we lose our wing backs. The team falls apart, doesn't it? The whole lot. It just goes to crap. The whole thing just falls apart. Right, Philly 2109. I didn't want Conte as I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere. As we were never going to give him what he wanted to be successful. But falling on his sword. Conte gave me good show. Yes, he did. And no, we weren't ever going to go anywhere with him. Are we going to go anywhere with anyone? Conte and Mourinho, they're two types of managers that are winners, out and out winners. They come into a club and they say, right, when the whole team's got, say, 3 players missing, they come into the club and say, right, I want him, him, and him. I will win you the league. Him, and him. A, B, C, whoever they are. The club will go out and go, there you go, there's A, B, C. They might miss out on C and get D. But that's how they do it. Everywhere they've gone, the team has already been half built and they've gone in and got 3 players, top players at that. That's who I want. Go get me my man. I will win you that league. And that is exactly what they do. What did he get at Spurs? Let's just not even go into it because it gets depressing. Daniel E. All right, what are you saying here, mate? Dan, mate, Harry Redknapp accepted the signings of Louis Sarr and Roy Nelson, mate. he could have still said no. He was Levy Puppet as well. No, do you know what, mate? He weren't as much of a Levy Puppet because he blatantly went on TV and took the mickey out of the signings he got when he actually got them. If you actually watch his interview, you'll be able to find it on YouTube, whatever, when he got them. And he was standing there. He said, yeah, look at the 2 players I've got. Brilliant. This is who I wanted, wasn't it? Yes, well done. 2 great players I've got with me with a big cheesy grin on his face. And he was ripping it. Simple as that. Okay, you can say that's calling it a puppet because he didn't say it blatantly, but he was ripping it. He was taking it. Right, Giant Rabbit. That's Tottenham for you. All style, beautiful kit, and no product when it comes to trophies. I don't know what you want me to say on it, mate. It's true. It's all true. We've said it. It is true. Do I see any trophies coming to Spurs anytime soon? I think what Ange did this year, again, another thing that I will pick on him. People must think that I don't like the man. I do. There's more I like about him than dislikes. It's little things I don't like. But I think what he did in that League Cup was one of the most stupid things I have ever seen a manager do in my life. Change 9 players for a game against Fulham, which is still a London derby, like it was the other day. And look what happened. Now, if we'd have finished 7th, 8th, 6th, and he'd have won that League Cup, he would have bought himself time and plenty of it off the fans. And we would have had a bit of silverware. But no, he decides to piss ball about in the cup. Now, I get it if we'd have had someone like Charlton. No offence to Charlton, but much smaller. Then you could have done that. But you don't go and do that with another Premiership team. That's just stupid in my eyes. Or you just don't care about the cup. And Spurs are in no position to not care about the cup. We're not. But we don't ever seem to. We don't win nothing. We call ourselves a top 6 team. And we're only there because of money, nothing else. We're fraud. We are to an extent. We are only top 6 and top 10 in Europe because we have the biggest income in a stadium and because we've got more money than most out there. That's the only reason. We're not in a position where we can say to the League Cup, no, what is it they said at Arsenal? We got bigger fish to fry, and then they got fried when it comes to the league where they bottled it. Spurs ain't got bigger fish to fry. Not unless you take 4th place as a trophy. Like I used to 5-6 years ago. I didn't want to see League Cup. I wasn't bothered about the FA Cup. I was too excited about us getting in the Champions League. No. Finish me 10th. Finish me 15th. Just get me that League Cup or that FA Cup. I'll be a happy man. Then next season, go to get it up the league. But no. He blew the cups out. Blatantly. And that one got my back up. It was stupid. Even if you weren't taking the cup too serious, don't go and make 9 changes. 9. That is one of the most stupid things that I've seen a manager do. But as a whole, he's been good. But there is bad points you need to pick out. And that is probably one of his worst ones. What's Ellie saying here? I don't agree. Ange has his own man, is his own man. He may be adhered to come to the club things, but when it comes to straight talking, he always says it as he sees it. Straight down the line, no bullshit. Yeah. I must admit, I had to watch his interview a couple of times of when he said, top four don't bother me. I'm not bothered about top four. I had to think about what he said there. Is he really not bothered about top four? Is he trying to prove a point to Levy here by saying he's not bothered about top four? Or is he saying top four because he wants to win things? So I then go and watch the interview again, and then again, but listen to the whole thing properly. No, I'll go with you to an extent on this one, Ellie. He actually wants to win something at Spurs. So did Conte. So did Mourinho. So did Pochettino. I think any manager wants to win something at their club. But when you've got a club like Spurs that doesn't back up its managers or nothing, you're not going to win crap. You're not. But we shall see how he gets booked. Pardon me. I said at the start, I think he will get backed. But there's a reason. It depends what you call backing a manager and backing a manager, yeah? I think he will get backed by his standards. Now, his standards are a lot lower than a Conte or a Mourinho. And what I mean by his standards is the type of player he would be used to getting. He's not used to getting 100 million put in the bank for him. He's not used to going for 50, 60 million players. He's more of what I would call a Brighton manager who's very good going to get the rough diamonds out and shining them up good. That's what he's done all his life. So maybe on his side, he will get backed. But for us, will he? I just don't see things changing. There's that little bit of hope there that I think we should all have. But on a realistic manner, will things change? Will it? You get what I want to say. Giant Rabbit, great point, Daniel E. And Harry Redknapp, coach beautiful football. But you say he wasn't backed like the rest. No, he wasn't. But if you watch an interview he done straight after he got the players, he took the right mick. Andy, hi. Liverpool supporter. Wow. Liverpool supporter on a Spurs page. What's that? Are you just here to laugh? Wouldn't blame me if you are, mate. Right, man. I'd even try Bissouma on the wing. He's one of our most gifted technical players. I think you're just taking the mick there. Surely you can't be serious. Oh, dear. And what's that one about? I'll speak to you later. That's just my missus there. And Daniel E, Giant Rabbit, spot on, mate. Ellie, what you saying again now? Paulina would be perfect 6. Our switch, Romero. Let me start again. Sorry. Paulina would be our perfect 6, or switch Romero there now. That would be very cool in my bag. Danny will be great. I love that idea. Paulina would be my ideal one there. Or if I wanted an out-and-out anchorman, do you know where else you could go looking and quite possibly get him and not the most expensive? McGinn, if that's how you say his name. McGinn, the one who got sent off for Villa against us. Because he's so important to Villa. Out-and-out anchorman. No piss balling about. Anchorman. There. I'm there. I'm going nowhere. You ain't getting past me. That is what we need there. But then Paulina has got it as well to play like that. Not quite the build for it, but he's also got skill on him as well. So you get sort of like the best of both worlds out of him. But if you want a man to just sit there like a lump of metal, like a tank, you're not getting through him, I'd say McGinn is the one. But, because I'd say we've got the money to get him. But for me, I'll go with you, Ellie, on that one. Paulina has got to be my first choice there, especially after what Fulham done to us. The way he bossed that midfield, he totally took us to the cleaners just from there. If we're basing our signings on database, then Johnson doesn't fit into the technical side because he's just not a skillful player. Mate, what is he? What is he? I don't know. I honestly don't know. He's not good on the ball. He's not good shooting. He's not good passing. I mean, yeah, you can turn around and say the man's got what? 4 goals and 6 assists. But the assists have been double close, bar 2 of them. And the goals he's put in the back of the net, any one of us could have done that. there's certain goals that I don't. All right, fair play if you score a goal, but there's some goals you get a lot of credit for, and some goals, mate. When one of us could have scored it, I don't feel the player deserves the same sort of credit. But you got to tap him on the back and say, do you know what? Fair play, mate. You scored the goal. The top teams have leaders all over the park, like City, Paul, and Gunners. City and Liverpool, yeah. Gunners, I don't really see where their main leaders are either. They've got one or two on that pitch, but I wouldn't say they've got a heavy leader either. I wouldn't say they've got a man on there like they used to have with Patrick Vieira or whatever. I think that's more one of their weaker points as well. But at Spurs, there's just no out and out leader on that pitch. Tony, what are you saying? I would like to see Lo Celso as a right winger. He's fast, technical, and dares to take on his man. He has played right wing several times in other clubs. Right is right. He's done it for. He's played left and he's played right for Argentina on a lot of the things. A couple of games he has done it. Do you know what? With that crap on the right or the left, unless Sonny's on there, give it a go, mate. Why not? Give it a go. I mean, unless we get new wingers in next year that can score 10 goals each, we ain't got a chance in hell of going for anything again. Just fight for fourth place. And then we get in the Champions League. What are we? Just another bloody number. Just another flipping name. I'm bored of it. I don't just want to be a name or a number anymore. I want Spurs to do something. Like I keep saying, just go and win that League Cup or something. Go and do something. Get your finger out. Right, what's Philly saying here? Sorry, wrong one. I agree, Dan. A lot of the players, I can't even read that word, have today are big girls' players. Yep. They are. They are. They've got no balls on them, half of them. Half of them, when they go home, they probably still get their shorts washed by their mother. I agree with you. But I think that's just a society thing these days when you start looking at age. But that's a whole different channel to go with. All right, Daniel E. I think Son has proved on the weekend he's not captain material. That game was crying out and needing a proper leader to calm down the players, and he shied away. Proper captains don't do that. I'll keep quiet for a couple of seconds for that one. Mate, you just banged it on the head. Son is not leader material. He's not. He may be a good man off the pitch. He may be good to all the younger players. He may be able to score a goal. He may be able to play good. He may be able to stand there and start smiling and shouting when we're 3-0 up. But when it comes to the crunch, he's not aggressive enough. Some people say he is. I don't believe he is. Again, maybe I'm too old school, but for me, he's not captain material. He's done good. You can't say otherwise. But he's not captain material. Not for me. Philly 2109. Once the players are on the pitch, we can't blame Levy. No. But because the players cross the line, is on Levy. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It all comes from the top. Pyramid, whatever people want to call it. But that's why the club is in such a mess. Because of Levy. The club as a whole. That pitch, those players on that pitch, if it was actually Levy, like he does pick a lot of the players, or used to, if it was actually Levy who picked all those players on the pitch, then you're going to have to give the man a gold medal, like it or lump it. Romero, Van der Ven, what Porro's turned into. Maddison, Sarr, Udogie, Vicario. So if he's to do with all the signings as well, then in that aspect, you got to give him credit. Dare I say that? No. That other day, Levy looks on Spurs as a business. Levy is a sociopath in my eyes, yeah? A true out-and-out world-class businessman. Because to be an out-and-out businessman, you got to be a sociopath. You got to not care about nothing. You got to not care about those poorer people that you just destroyed just to get more money in your business and everything. A true out-and-out world-class businessman who makes it to the top is always a sociopath, an animal. Because that's what you got to do in the business world. Being nice in the business world, you don't get nowhere. That's just a fact. But the way he treats this club, to him, it's just a business. That's all it is. And he's a businessman. But you cannot take nothing on Daniel Levy for what happened against Fulham. I don't blame the man for nothing. We had more than a good enough team out there to take Fulham to the cleaners. And no taking it away from Fulham, no disrespect for them. They absolutely ruined us. They was good, very good. But we was that bad, we made them look spectacular. Even though they were very good. We was that piss poor, we made them look spectacular. We made them look like Brazil, what Brazil used to be. We made them, some of the balls that came in for them, we were so poor and out of place, that might as well have been Ronaldo, Rivaldo, and Ronaldinho on there. That is how bad we were. But Fulham were good. No taking it away from them. But I'm sorry, that one ain't Daniel Levy's fault. That's the players and the manager. And then the manager sits there for 65 minutes. Stands there, sorry. Or he's got his hands in his pocket. No, fix up. He got that one wrong. And so did the players. And again, Son, captain material. Not for me. He's really not. Andy, what have you got to say here, mate? On Bissouma slide tackles, a lot of players this season. Bissouma, mate, he's just gone to the cleaners. I don't know. I've said it before. I do not know what has happened to my man. I really don't. He's gone to pieces, mate. And it was usually like Liverpool who was willing to pay 65, 70 million the season before we got him. Because he was epic at Brighton. He was brilliant in his first 8 games here. Brilliant. When we was playing in box to box. But even if we played in box to box now, would he handle it? I don't think so. I mean, who gets into that midfield? I mean, we have got a good choice in midfield. If you were saying all of those players on their peak get into that midfield, on the chat, put in the 3 you would put in there. Out of the choice we've got Skip. I laugh at that one. We got Højbjerg. We got Bissouma, Bentancur, Maddison, and Sarr. Now, all of them at their peak, at their best. Sarr walks into that team for me because he's an engine and he's going to be my box-to-box man. Then who do I go for next? Maddison goes without saying because he goes up front if we're playing one behind the striker. But if we're playing a DM, then obviously Maddison goes in there and plays deep line playmaker, goes up there. But as the DM, then the choice comes out of Bissouma and Bentancur. I'd have to go for Bentancur there. But there's that other side of me that says when they was at their best at the start of the season, Bentancur wouldn't have got in that team because the best I've seen Spurs playing in midfield is Bissouma, Sarr, and Maddison. So on the way I've seen them play this year, that was where I will go. Bissouma, Sarr, and Maddison. But the way Bissouma's been, I wouldn't want to pick him. But Bentancur's been crap as well for the past 7 games. Sarr had his worst game ever the other day. Madders just hasn't looked. He's getting his stuff together. He hasn't looked like the same man, obviously, since the injury and that, but he's slowly getting his act together. I mean, that was a bit of a stamp on the ankle he got the other day. It was a bit of a heavy one, that's for sure. Will we see him in the next game? We'll have to wait and see, because that's one thing with Madders, he's a little bit brittle. Right, what's Giant Rabbit saying here? We have a top right wing forward in Porro. It's obvious to me. I know, mate. I've said it 100 times. I've said it on so many shows. I've been playing it for ages. It just looks perfect what he could be. Phil P, big up, Danny. Hope you're well, brother. I'm all right, mate. I'm cool. I'm just still half waking up from a late night last night. Having my Red Bull, having my tantrum about Spurs. Right, Ellie. Pet Pug Stones in the middle and worked so well. Romero, CDM, and Madders, Kulu, false 9. Why not? It's worth a go, isn't it? I mean, when he actually when Pep actually did that with Stones, Stones was actually the only player on that Man City team that actually looked stable against Inter Milan. Because Inter Milan was all over him. And obviously I follow Inter Milan, then my second time. Inter Milan should have had that game. They really should have had that game. Seriously should have had that game. But Stones was the one who kept City involved in that game. No two ways about it. JJ, oi oi, morning Dan, morning everyone. Oi oi JJ, how we doing fella? Phil 2109. I for one understand any fans who wants a break from Spurs. I grew tired of it years ago. If Spurs back the manager, Spurs don't play. If when it comes to charging the fans. Yeah. Again, it's another one, mate. I don't know what you want me to say. You're right. You're 100% right on it. We get torn a new one every time. The way I put it, I mean, I know not everyone would do this, but you go shopping in House of Fraser. You want to go get yourself a nice pair of expensive jeans and a nice shirt. So you think, do you know what? I'm going to go for a Hugo Boss shirt, Armani jeans, or other way round, whatever way you do it. You want to get some nice gear. So you pay the big money for it. If you want to get the other stuff, then you just go Aldi's because you don't expect nothing more. But when you're going and paying House of Fraser prices and you're getting Aldi's gear, that's not right. If I want Sainsbury's shorts, I'll go Sainsbury's. If I want nicer ones or if I want expensive ones, I go House of Fraser. I don't expect to go House of Fraser and get Sainsbury's gear in there. But that's what we do at Spurs. We pay the most money out there in the world of football, I think. And what do we get out of it? Crap. Ellie. Porro in Kulu's role, yeah. Dragusin and VDV, left centre back. We buy another proper speedy right back who can attack Destiny, left wing back. Yeah, as he can do. That role beautiful mostly. That could work. Dragusin right back, I knew what you meant. He's right footed. I mean, when he was at Genoa, he did play on the left of a free, centre of a free. He played in all three central positions, but he played right back a couple of times as well. He can hold his ground, but he's not left footed. And he's not as fast as Van der Ven. How are we going to get another defender in now who is as quick as Van der Ven? How are we going to do it? It's not possible. You can't do it. So we need a plan B again for when Van der Ven is not on that pitch because we can't cover the balls coming over. There we go back to my point at the start. He has to have a plan B, and he don't. What's Phil saying on here? Phil P. We need to get some homegrown, to be fair. Yes, it's true because we are lacking in it, and those are the rules, aren't they? But Ben Johnson still the juice after testing positive for the Olympics. Fair enough, mate. Big up Phil P, my brother. Big up Phil Army. Yes. Ellie is Ledley King. Is Ledley King doing that free deal? Well, if it's his cousin, and do you know what? If he's good enough to battle for a place and he can cover left and back, and also goes as that homegrown, and he's free, then maybe that wouldn't be the worst idea to get him, as long as he's not counted as one of our buyers as such, and we go and spend the money on the other stuff that we actually need. So we're just going to have to wait and see, aren't we? Great point, Danny E. Football at the club has cost us, I can't say that word, has cost us and conceded 43 goals. Let's just say bad football. You're not allowed to use that term on here. I've used it and got a total grilling for it. So, you know how it is, modern day and everything. Be respectful. We disrespect teams far too much, then get caught on it, get caught for it, only to suffer the consequences. I wouldn't say we disrespect teams, but I think we definitely did with Fulham. I think we went out there with complacency. Look what we just did to Villa. And what we did to Villa deserved respect.
First half weren't that good, but second half, we tore them a new one. So, yeah, go out into your next match confident, but don't come out complacent. That's how you lose. That's how you lose a punch up. That's how you lose in boxing. That's how you lose in rugby, UFC, whatever. UFC man comes out and he's too cocky on himself. Yeah, I'm going to bust this man wide. The next thing you know, he's got a kick upside the head. He's out on the floor cold with half his jaw hanging off. Look what happened to Tyson when he went against the one that Joshua just banged out. He came out overweight, cocky, no respect, complacency, and the man took him all the way. Yeah, Tyson still beat him, but only the skin of his teeth. Joshua took him seriously, banged him out, cold. And I don't even rate Joshua that much. I think the fella's got a glass jaw, if you ask me. But that's what happens. You play complacency, you get hurt. That's when you get knocked out. And that's what happened to us with Fulham. Complacency. Question, Dan. What 3 players from any team that are gettable would you take, Dan? Me, I would take Bowen from West Ham. He's got such ability. Goals, Braithwaite from Everton and Paulina from Fulham. It depends how we're going to play it, Lou. It depends. It totally depends. And it depends where we need the players most, doesn't it? People have turned my views on what we need. Yeah, we need that man at the back. We need that defensive midfielder. And for me, Paulina, he just showed me he does the whole job fine. He's got enough anchor man in him. He's got enough ball winner in him, but he's also got a bit of playmaker to him. For me, he's definitely the one I go there. Then where else do we need it? We need it on the wings, definitely on the wings. One of them I'm definitely sure of who I'd like, and he plays for Sassuolo, if that's how you pronounce the name. Terrible at pronouncing names. His name's Berardi, and he plays there, and he plays in the Italian team. I think he would set into the Premiership like that. He's got the pace, he's got skill, he can cross it, he can take a knock. I think he'd do brilliant at crossing that ball in. But who else would I go for? It is a good question, because what do we actually need most? I don't know, people. Give me an idea. Maybe we need another winger. Maybe we need another defender. Maybe we need left back, right back, because we do need players to fight the other players for their positions. But the 2 main I can think of, Paulina and that Berardi, would be 2 I'd love. Another one I wouldn't say no to either. Again, another one who plays in Italy. And I think he'd give Maddison a good run for his money. He plays at Roma, Pellegrini. I think he's another one I'd go for as well. But that just shows where I follow the Italian football that much. But I think we also need someone there who can give Maddison a run for his money. Because Kulu, he can cover that for a couple of games. But he's not a playmaker number 10. He's more of a false 9 in that position. But he plays better attacking midfield central, whatever you want to call it. But Dan E, we said Bentancur might now be the same player after ACL, but we were called negative for being realistic. 100% right, mate. Me and you both said it. Me and you both did warn everyone he might come out half the player and might not get what he was, but people grilled us for it. No, it's just being realistic. Right, Minerals FC, what are you saying, mate? Big up, Dan, mate. Big up to you too. Do you rate Johnson? No. Next question. No, I don't, mate. I think he's awful. I think the boy is terrible. I get it. He's young. Give him a chance, this and that. Let him adapt. He's already 22. He's already earning 30, 40 grand. Adapt. Do you know what? If we keep him, which we will, loan him off at the end of the season. Loan him. Loan my man off. Loan him off at the end of the season. That's what I think we should do. Loan the man off at the end of the season. And then get someone else in that position. That's what I think we should do with him. That's the only way we got a chance of getting anywhere with him. Loan my man off at the end of the season. What's that? City hasn't been confirmed. I don't know if I missed something there with something that got said earlier. You're going to have to explain on that one, mate, because I think I might have missed something. Right, Tony, what are you saying, mate? We have not lost a single game when Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero and Porro have played. I don't know. I can't say I paid attention to it like that in that aspect. But you're probably right. If you're saying it, you're probably right. But yeah, when we've got all of them there, that's our solid at the back. And that's where they can press forward, even though I feel our centre-backs do press high so forward. But that's where you got Van der Ven coming back on yourself. And that is exactly what happened with Fulham. As soon as he weren't on, the team fell to pieces over one defender. One. You can't just have a plan A and not have a plan B when your plan A falls to shit when you ain't got to play, when one defender goes missing. This is my whole point. I know it keeps going back. I keep repeating it. You must be sick of it, but it does my head in. What's that? Newcastle, Arsenal, Liverpool at the moment. Tony, Chelsea, we lost. Okay, yeah, we did actually. I mean, got torn apart in that one, but that was our that was our own fault. Giant Rabbit, 3 wins at Anfield in 1 century. That's pathetic. Yeah, well, that's Spurs for you, isn't it? That's got Spurs written all over it. I mean, Liverpool and Chelsea ain't our games, are they? They ain't our games. Dan, mate, you are worried that Ange ain't mob is developing. Mills, I'll be honest with you, mate. It's his first season and he's trying it out. I've got confidence enough to feel that the man is smart enough to change a few things. Will he get backed is the different thing, but we're talking about Ange again now, yeah? You're saying I'm worried. Yeah, I am a little bit worried. Like I've said, I said it a minute ago. I don't like the fact that he ain't got a plan B. I don't like the fact that his subbing isn't. He waits too late to do it most of the time. I don't like the fact that he's stubborn. And I don't like those inverted wing backs. But I suppose that one you can. I think it shouldn't take him more than half a season. You're not going to adapt to a different type of football like that, yeah? But I don't think it should take 6 months to still be working out when you should bring your your substitutes on. He should already be doing better at that. And in certain games, he should already be realising that the inverted wing backs ain't working and he needs to change it a little bit. But maybe he's just holding on to it. Maybe he's just going to say, we're doing it my way, and next season he gets who he wants and it gets better. We're just going to have to wait and see. But I won't deny it. I am a little bit sceptical of the man. People call me negative for it. Call me what you want. I just speak my bloody mind. Everyone's allowed their own opinion. Everyone, whether you agree with it or not. But I am getting sceptical of the man on a couple of points. I won't deny it. Giant Rabbit. Wingers are supposed to draw the defenders out to the sideline to create space, but we don't do that. We are congesting 18-yard box. Mate, we said this early, didn't we? We said this early. With them cutting in, underlapping, everything else. We said it earlier, mate. You're totally right. You're 100% right. We said it earlier. Right, Bentancur was great versus Man U, and Villa was his best midfield display in that first 35 minutes. Then since just not ready, I believe. Fitness. Maybe it was his fitness, but no, his past 7 games, Ellie, he has been poor overall. He has been poor. He has not been good by his standards. I don't think he has. I really don't. I don't think he's been good by his standards. He still might have looked good compared to like Højbjerg or something. But his past games, I think he's slipped down like Bissouma has slipped down. Not to the extent that Bissouma has, but the same level on his side, if you get what I mean. He's gone right downhill in his past few games, I think. Danny, mate, what have you got to say here? Dan, you know what's sad? And Ndombele won a league title. Yeah, he did, didn't he? He's got more trophies than Harry Kane. He doesn't even care about football. Mate, as all that man cares about is looking on his phone for a flipping McDonald's when he's on the pitch. It's true. I mean, Napoli totally rinsed it last year, didn't they? But they're struggling last year. Where is it they are now? I think they're about 7th or 8th when I last checked. Don't hold me to it, but I think they're about 7th or 8th. They've had a mare of a season out there, Napoli. I mean, to the point where they've had death threats on their doorsteps of the players and everything. But in Italy, they take it that much more personal. Right, big up Danny the Bun. You know things are bad when Declan Rice at West Ham and more trophies than Kane. Yeah, well, there you go. And Minerals as well saying big up Dan, Ange in. I am not saying Ange out. Don't no one try and put words in my mouth here saying that Ange out. No. I like quite a few things about him, but there's a few things I don't like. And those things that I don't like, I think they are actually starting to show. Not just to me, but to quite a few other people. So, Ellie, what have you got to say here? Let's have a look. We're a 5th place pecking order until we win trophies. Yeah. That will be it, as we are building destiny as a big club so bloody well to win something and get the ball rolling towards the attracting better players. Yeah, but until we actually look like we can win something, or will actually want to win something, it's still not going to attract the big boys. The only ones we'll attract with the big boys there is the ones who just want the money if we're willing to pay the money. A lot of players want to win. So why would you come to Spurs? When Spurs ain't got a winning mentality, when they've won one League Cup. Do you know what? There's smaller clubs than Spurs you would probably want to go to if you want to win something, because they want to try and win that cup. They want to put the effort in for the bloody cup. Spurs don't. So why is a player that wants to win anything? Why is it most players leave Spurs? It's not even a money thing. It's because they want to bloody win something. Why do you think Harry Kane left? Because he wanted to win something in the end. And yeah, it's gone a bit tits up at Bayern Munich the one season he gets there. The man must be cursed, I tell you. But literally every player that has left Spurs goes and wins something. So, yeah, until we actually look that we want to win something, that we're going to try and win something, why are the big players going to come to us? Call me negative, whatever. I don't care. It's just being realistic. If I wanted the big money, whatever, I still wouldn't go to Spurs because they don't pay it. And they're going to pay significant money. Okay, I'll go there. But if I want to really win something, and a club like Liverpool offers me half the money, I'm gonna go somewhere where they give me half the money because I want to win something. That's why. Or even if you go to somewhere like what Leicester were trying to do at one point, they won the league, they won the cup, and they couldn't afford the money, they couldn't afford nothing. But I would have rather gone there because I want to win something. Yeah, I know most of it comes down to money these days. Most of it bloody does. Doesn't everything in the world? I mean, what's the biggest killer on the planet? Money. Apart from that, religion. But football is a religion, basically, isn't it? Money. It makes the world go round, whether you like it or not. I don't like it. I'm sure you lot don't like it. But money is what makes the world go round. Everything has a price. Or let's say 95% of stuff. Same as every player has a price. You going off that player enough, that club enough money, they will sell. You offer them enough money, they will come to you, unless they want to win something. So why would they go to Spurs? When you got the man at the top who don't give a shit about winning nothing, who just looks on us as a business. Why would you? Okay, we might have a manager with a winning mentality now. He wants to win something. Fine. Okay. Well, we'll see if he can evolve to the Premiership. Because if he sticks to his way, is he going to win us something? I think with them first 10 games, we played really well. But I think the other thing that happened there is quite a few other teams were taken back because they were used to how Spurs had played for the past 3 years. So it took them back a bit. But then after that, they started getting the ideas in of how we played. And then they started to counter us on certain things, play different ways against us. And then I think we got sussed out. When you get sussed out, we go back to my point again, plan B, or just use a couple of different little tactics. But I do think we've been sussed out on a few things. So he's definitely going to have to adapt. The big teams always adapt every year. I mean, look at Pep. He basically plays a new style every season. Or maybe he sticks to it for 2 seasons. But majority of the time, he changes his system. That's why he's a winner. He's got the brain for it. He's got the morals for it. He's got the winning mentality for it. He's got the skill for it, i.e. the skill of a manager to win. To know that right winger is too fast for my fullback. So I'm going to have to put a different fullback there that is quicker, or I'm going to have to play a different way that he gets taken out of the game before he even gets close to my fullback. That is what a winning manager does. That is what someone who will adapt to the Premiership, what I expect of them. Will Ange do that? We can only wait and see. Time will tell. We can only wait and see. Only time will tell on that one. But yes, I am a bit sceptical on my man. When we had our first 11, we broke Prem records. First 10 matches. Beat Fulham. There were 2 different players from that period, Dragusin and Johnson. But VDV, we've only lost 1 game when he started. It's true. Why? Because we rely on his pace so much coming behind us. That's what it comes down to. Right, I'm just going to clear up on a couple of the talks again because I've got a couple of things I've got to do this afternoon. So, audio, what you're saying here, you could put Glenn Hoddle in with them. Yeah, well, top player, crap manager. You can say that about a lot of players, though, isn't it? How many players have actually gone to be in like a world-class manager and stuff? I know Sol Campbell definitely didn't do it, did he? Gary Neville didn't do it, did he? And a few of the others. Ooh, Lampard. Yeah, great manager, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, Fat Frank. Yeah. Was a great player, though. You can't take it away from him. No one could boot him from the 30 yards like he could. Like it or lump it. That's a stat. That's so evident that VDV is vital to our success. Yes, he is. That's what I'm saying, Ellie. He is. He's almost too vital. If we can get another defender in fast like him to cover the right, if the club wants to have Dragusin as a squad player. No, Dragusin's there as more to take Romero's place as time goes on, but he's there to fight for the place, and he's good enough to fight for the place. But to get someone with the pace of Van der Ven, I'm sorry, we're not doing it anytime. So I'm going to have to jump through a couple here just to make sure I clean through them. Right, first 10 games was an illusion. Teams didn't know what to expect against Spurs. Philly 2-1-0-9. Yep, exactly. That's what I said, mate. Now teams have worked out how to play against Spurs. Until we have better players to play Ange's system, we will go nowhere. Exactly. You can say that with anything. You can say that. You can say that with it. You're totally right, mate. You are totally right. I'll make you 100% right on it. Ange said the team was rushing going forward. Watch the same game again. Our wing backs would be ahead of our 9s and wingers during the build-up. I know, and that's why we got left up so open at the back. Fish to fry, we ain't even got a fish finger sandwich. I know, I don't mind a fish finger sandwich, actually. Same as I don't mind, what's the one my wife can't stand me eating? Jam and peanut butter. But there you go. We all like weird things, and I suppose Spurs is one of them, innit? Rob Belcher, top man, how you doing, fella? Opal's call for you. Big up Dan and all the chat. Congratulations in beating the 5 1/4 hour steam the other night. That was some achievement. Cheers, mate. I was absolutely shattered after that. It was only going to be 90 minutes, and then we just got talking. I had some great guests on there with everyone else. And then, yeah, when Sean told me that his longest was 5 hours, 15 minutes, and it was the record or something, I know others have done longer for 24-hour streams. I thought, you know what? I'll stretch this on, roll it on a bit longer for another 25 minutes just to beat his record. That was just for the fun of it. So, yeah, if the last 20 minutes of it was boring, I admit I did stretch it. Right, Ellie. In Scarface, Dan, Al Pacino says, first you get the money. We got that. Then you get the power. Then you get the girl. Yeah, the girl being the trophies. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. You're right on what you're saying. That's a winning mentality. Right. Just quickly, I'm going to go through these as quick as I can now. Right. Philly 2-1-0-9. Big up, Phil. What annoys me is fans like myself, Dante, Brian Daigle, Sava, and Stell tell the truth. We're called negative. But 2 months later, Ange says what we are saying, why he is not negative. Mate, sorry, I didn't even put your thing up on the page there. I just read it from the side. Like I say, I'll get the hang of it. You're right. But do you know what? Seriously, Phil, who cares what other people think? Everyone is allowed their own opinion. Anyone who is ever going to come on my talk, on my channel, like Sean did the other night, and I had to tell people, pipe down, let him say his piece. I even had to, he's allowed his opinion. No matter how raw I think some of it is, and I say it clear to his face or whatever, 80%, I send it to him with his stuff, I do not agree with at all. 20% of what he said made perfect sense. But you're allowed your own opinion. We've got our own opinion, as all we are, mate, is realists. And sadly, to be a realist at Spurs, you got to be negative. You're going to be negative being a realist at Spurs because it always goes wrong at Spurs. Tell me how to be positive at Spurs. What, just because we went 10 games unbeaten? Yeah, great. I'm happy. Talk to me at the end of the season and I'll tell you whether I'm positive, whether things are going well. That is when I make my decision. Yes, you're going to make different ideas through the season. Okay, maybe we can get fourth. And then what happens at Fulham? No, we ain't getting fourth. But then Villa go and get the draw. Or we can get fourth or fifth. It chops and changes. Of course it does. That's the season. But no one can blame anyone for being slightly negative at Spurs. Tell me something positive to bring up, except the bloody stadium. And I'll say that with anybody. So you're right, mate. 100% right. But you just stick to your guns. You are allowed your opinion. So am I. So is everyone else. Until you come on here and prove me fact that I am wrong, fact, I'll put my hands up. Everyone's seen me do it. A couple of times people have done. Do you know what? You're right, mate. Hands down. I'll buy you a beer for it. But it comes on facts. And fact is Spurs it's negative. Because there's nothing positive to say about it except we've played some better football. Are we going to win anything this year? No. What's going to be the most positive thing we do? Maybe finish for the Champions League. And we played a better style of football. And maybe the manager will get it. The players he wants. Summer transfer window, that is where it's going to be interesting. Because it ain't going to be an easy one with the Euros being in the middle of it either. It's going to be awkward. Right, Ellie, what are you saying quick? Sonny, in a modern role model, I personally feel Romero would be a better captain, but I do love Sonny and I do think he's a good captain. Ellie, I know, and we have our different opinions on this, which, like I said, we're all entitled to it. Son, he is. He is a good role model, but you don't just need your captain to be a role model. Roy Keane wasn't a good role model, but he was an excellent captain. Patrick Vieira, a terrible role model, excellent captain. Gerrard, was he a good role model? So. Brilliant captain. I think Alex, Mr. Box Office, who gets a lot of stick which he don't deserve. I like the man. Why? Because I think he actually speaks a lot of sense if you actually listen to what he says. And at the start of the season, or just before the start, when I first ever came on a show, on Sava's show, which a couple of people might remember, a lot of people might not, it was because I disputed on the live, that I don't believe that Spurs are smaller than Villa, that Villa are bigger than Spurs. Maybe they had better, maybe they've done better over 100 years than us, but they are not a bigger club than Spurs. So Sava said, come on the page and have it out. So I did. And Mr. Box Office said a lot on there. A few people grilled him. And then a few other shows I've seen him get grilled for his opinion. And do you know what the joke of it all is? 75% of what the man said has happened. And then certain people go into their nutshell, don't they, and go hiding. They ain't got the bottle to sit on it and say to his face, do you know what? You was right. If you can't admit you're wrong, then you're a problem to yourself. When you're right, you're right. You're wrong, you're wrong. That's my attitude. Same as my other attitude is credit where credit is due. Look, even if I despise and hate, I don't hate people. Why? Because hate, you're giving too much feeling to someone. If I dislike someone, and I've got my best mate or my wife standing there, and they're both talking and one makes a fair point, even the one I dislike more than the other one, if they're right, I will say they are right. That is just the way I work. And I will give credit where credit is due, even if I despise a person. And that's just how I work. Everyone works different, each their own at the end of the day. For midfield, I would have Maddison, Bentancur, and then don't care who you play between Sarr and Bissouma. I don't think either is good enough. Scott M, I think that's a bit of a deep comment, isn't it? You don't think Sarr is actually good enough? Or do you just think maybe he needs another season to really get into it? I think he's been our overall best midfielder. No, he hasn't stood out as the best midfielder on certain bits. Like, apart from that cross as such, compared to what Maddison has done on a couple. But he has been our most consistent player, apart from Van der Ven and Vicario. In midfield, he has been the most consistent one. So I'm going to have to go against you there. Yeah. Bissouma, I agree. He's gone to shit. Simple as. He has gone to pieces. But Sarr, no, mate. Not at all. If anyone else agrees with him, disagrees with him, quickly say it, because I've got about another 10 minutes. Right, Rob Belcher. Like I said, top fella. I'll give you a call later as well, mate. Sarr, Madders and Benny. Yep, I can see why. Audio, what you're saying. Honestly, I think we could move on both Bissouma and Bentancur in upgrades in the summer. Yeah. Bentancur, I don't want to. I really don't. And Bissouma, if you don't watch it, he's just going to become a Højbjerg. I know I've already said it all. But on it, it's... Bentancur ain't looking his man. Maybe he's not fully fit yet. But like what Philly2109 said, like I said to people when they can't wait till he comes back, is he going to be the same person after that ACL? We shouldn't have brought him on in that game that we did. He was not ready. We should have brought out one of the kids, one of the youth team. Seriously, we really should have. I know we needed it, but I would have rather had my player be fully fit when he's fit instead of bringing him on early and he gets injured again like he did, and then we bring him on when he's only 75% fit and not doing the job properly because he can't. So he's not doing it? Is he playing crap for the past 7 games, which he has been crap because he still isn't fit yet? Or is he actually going through that sort of phase? Or is it the ACL was busted him? Only time will tell. And Dan's just asking you, Ellie, what player is this, Ellie? And Dan again, big up to everyone in the chat. Yep. Brian, Dan, do you get any online abuse? As 2 fellow Spurs fans have, YouTube have quit YouTube due to this. Mate, I get a bit of stick here and there, but you know what? I couldn't care less. I really couldn't. Everyone's different, yeah? Look, let me be straight with you. And see, look, as soon as I start talking about Spurs again, I start bloody smoking again. But by the end of next month, I've had I won't say a death threat put at me, but I've had a serious threat put at me. And that's by my mod on here. She's called my wife. I have to slow down and stop. But again, it's only on here or when I go down the bloody pub that I smoke so bloody much. But yeah, I get a bit of stick here and there, mate. But you know what? I couldn't care less. And you know what? What people go and say in the chat, say it. Say what you want. Everyone's allowed their own opinion. If someone wants to come on here and say, Dan, you're a prick, they can say it. I'll just turn around and say, yeah, you're a prick as well, and I'll block them. Or I just won't show it on there and I'll just block them straight away. Or I'll get my mod to do it. I think some people in life just take things a bit too personal. Even though someone calling you a name, someone being raw to you, whatever, okay, it is digged at you, but it's a word. Deal with it. I just do think some people take things too much to heart. But then one thing I definitely notice about football is, God, I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking football serious, yeah? But then some people just take it way too serious. When you're giving... No, look, I'm going to bring up a name here. Saba. Big him up, everyone, yeah? Because he was the first one who gave me a chance to come on the show. And it was a solid debate I had been for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. When the man actually has to come off doing his channel, yeah, he might have lost the fun in it. I get that. The minute I don't find this fun and the minute I feel that I have to do it is when I won't be doing it. But when you're starting to get death threats at your fucking door, see what, I shouldn't have said that this time in the morning, well, afternoon now, through your door and everything else, all because you've got a different opinion on football. All because you might be a bit negative compared to a couple of others. I think some people need to get a bloody life. I really do. I mean, Sava, you were a top fella, mate. You was good on here. No two ways about it. You had a lot of fans. A lot of people going to miss you on here. You done a good job. You done a good show. I used to look forward to getting, when I got up, I used to always listen to TalkSport, have my fag, play a bit of Football Manager, wake up, right, then get my act together for the day. I started watching your shows in the morning instead, listening to them in the background while we playing with Football Manager till about 11, half 11, and then I had to get up and I had to go and do things. So no, what happened to you, mate? What people did to you was disgusting. And it was. But in that aspect, what you're saying there, Brian, people say what they want to say. Let them do it. I could not care less. But when it comes to your doorstep, wow. I think that's enough to put anyone off if I'm going to actually be serious. Right, what you saying here, Dan? Honestly, Dan, the Galatasaray fans literally call Ndombele burger. Yeah, I know. I know. I've seen it. I've seen it on. I've seen it a couple of times on like YouTube channels and that. But yeah, he's useless. And the thing that's really annoying about the man is that he's actually got some skill on him, but he is just a waste of space completely. Right, what is it? My barbers are all Turkish. Yeah, most of them are. Mine are. And they laugh and call him burger. Yeah. Right, Paul Abraham, what you saying, quick? My cousin is that we all saw what Fulham were doing to us, suffocated us. A good manager out to tweet things up and counter it. But Ange just stood there and didn't react. That's exactly what I've said all through it, mate. So I'm not going to go through it again, but you're 100% right on what you're saying. He just stood there with his chest out and just said, and didn't say nothing. Rob, what you saying there, mate? I'll never blame Ellie. Knowledge about Spurs is second to none. Very true. But Højbjerg's level dropped when Ellie took his name. Now she's taken Benny's name. His levels have also dropped. Just yeah, Ellie, stop cursing the players. Yeah, Ellie. Yeah, it's your fault. So there we go. So right, people, I'm going to have to leave a couple of the ones on here because I've got to go do a couple of things now. Like I say, I will get better at reading it out and I will start doing a lot more shows in mornings, afternoons, whatever else. But another thing I'm not going to do is rinse myself out and do 5, 6 a day. I mean, I always go on Alan's show, time added on that. So please sign up to him if you haven't. But I presume everyone has on there because he's also given me a lot of time on his show to get known on there and that. And do us a favour. Give us a like and subscribe if you can. That's another thing I will not do, and that is beg through the show for like and subscribes. If you like me, fair play. If you don't, take me as Marmite. That's the way it goes with me on that one. So with that one, what I'm going to have to do now is say goodbye to everyone. Good evening to everyone now. Have a good day. Hope it all good for you people. Spurs, pull your finger out. See you later, everyone.